Welcome back to the Ronny and Ernie Show. I'm Ron Williams. I'm a sommelier and wine specialist. And
I'm Ernie Zahn. I'm a filmmaker.
each week we get together and discuss our shared interests.
The show must go on. Continue.
Yeah. No, now it's you.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's your line.
And despite our very different lines of work, it's our shared interests that give us an opportunity to collaborate on various projects. So sometimes we'll talk about those things as well.
Speaking of collaborations...
Is that a good read?
Yeah, no, that was fine.
I don't think it was. It sounded insincere. But it's true.
It is.
We do get together and we do talk about our shared interests, and oftentimes those shared interests culminate in an idea that we decide to pursue and then turn into a project that we complete.
Complete.
Yes, exactly. The Austin Powers.
Ah, okay, right. Okay.
Evacuation complete.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so one of our most recent collaborations was a recipe booklet, which is available on both of our websites. Right on the front page of mine, thebon-vivant.com and triello.org/blog. We didn't decide on a recipe to do for today, and I have a few up my sleeve.
I have one that I'd like to suggest, unless
Okay.
you're
No, go
the
for
one
it.
you want to say. Okay, the Cuban black bean soup. Let's talk about that.
Oh, okay. All right. It's a meal that is near and dear to my heart because it provided much needed sustenance when we were shooting in 2016.
2016. So let's give a little background. So in 2016, we started working on some proof of concept footage. So basically, these were screen tests, right?
Yeah.
They were proving the worthiness of our performers, but also representing every other aspect of the film. How well we were able to organize and dress a set, the composition decisions we made, the quality of the writing. It was just an all-encompassing demo of what we were able to offer for a particular project that we're still pursuing.
Yeah.
And
Six and Bisty.
correct.
It's
So,
it's a western,
yes.
but it's not a John
So-
Wayne western.
No.
Do you want to give a background, or should we just leave it as mysterious?
Why don't we pause it for a second?
Okay,
You know,
all right.
I think it merits its own show.
Okay, all
But
right.
since it's already been brought up,
Okay.
I'll do a little introduction.
A brief synopsis.
So it's a project that we're in development, and we're giving away the title, and we're explaining this because this is something unlike anything we've done before. It's more of a... It started out more as a guerrilla film. We wanted to do this more like El Mariachi. We wanted to do it for almost no money and have it just be this down and dirty, scrappy film.
Do you know off the
And
top
then
of your
more we
head
developed-
what the budget was for El Mariachi?
$7,000
Are you
for
serious?
producing it.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, who knows how much it cost to market it once Columbia bought it.
Wow, yeah.
But I mean, for all we know, it was produced for $7,000 and then marketed for, $15 million or so. Who knows?
Jeez.
Um,
But that's the precursor. That's the prequel. Is it a direct prequel
what?
to Desperado?
Well, okay. Let's talk less about Robert Rodriguez's
Okay.
career and let's talk more about. Let me finish the introduction.
Yeah, go for it.
So this film we're developing it basically in public because we want to also understand the interest in something that is very different. And I think one of the goals we really want is to prove that there is interest in something a film whose story and idea is unique enough despite how small of a budget project it is and how different it is. Maybe its differences are what its value is. it's a western, but it's a western from the indigenous perspective. So we've collaborated with many artists from different parts of what we call the United States now, um, and working on developing a screenplay. We've worked with amazing, and we still work with incredible performers and creative leaders from different backgrounds, and the whole thing culminates in something that, at its concept, is very different from other certainly other westerns, and hopefully other counter narrative pieces. Um,
Does anybody say address someone as Pilgrim in the movie?
maybe we should include a scene like that.
All right, Pilgrim.
Pilgrim, can you do a John Wayne accent, or rather impression?
Um, I can try.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. All right, now stand there, Pilgrim. It's not that good. That's not one of my best impressions.
There has
Pilgrim.
to be somebody. Well, okay, so I mean, just to round this out, this is sort of a response to the legacy of old westerns popularized by John Wayne, and the
Mm,
perception of indigenous people that has been put forward as a result. Now, you and I are not the ones to populate that perspective. That's why we've worked with many amazing artists who do have that perspective, and we contribute our own ideas and our own intentions and the kinds of things that we want to see in films that we don't see, that even in the films that we're
yes,
right?
the
Fans
yes,
of.
yes.
Um, so, like, what's one or two things that you've contributed to this film that you want to see put forward? Because I feel like a recurring theme in this film is things you haven't seen before, or things that missing gaps, either through genre or just through.
Well, even just in kind of constructing the rough skeleton of the story, um, I've learned a lot more about Sicilian history and the role of immigrants in the Civil War than I ever would have thought possible. And so
Yep.
seeing a lot of um, seeing parts and aspects of Sicilian culture and in large part our shared heritage um, on screen is going to be I can't tell you how rewarding that's like the anticipation of that is what is it's amazing.
Yeah. So two of the characters in this film are Civil War veterans. The whole film takes place in the Navajo Nation, and two of these characters are Civil War veterans. And one of the things that we put on the screen is the reality that there was a lot of participation on the part of immigrants during the Civil War. A lot of immigrants were recruited by the Union, more than likely also by the Confederates, um, to participate and form regiments among common language. So the one in New York was a volunteer infantry called the Garibaldi Guard. That was their nickname. I
Mm.
think it was 38th Volunteer Infantry in New York.
139 actually
We'll have to confirm that. Go ahead and confirm that. I'll
right now.
explain. So
Oh,
two of
you
these
39th
characters,
Infantry. Yeah. 39th New
39th
York
Infantry,
Volunteer Infantry Regiment.
and so these two characters are Sicilian immigrants. I'm the descendant of Sicilian immigrants. Ron, you are as well.
Yes, I am.
From different eras, from different phases of immigration history,
Different parts of Sicily.
different parts of Sicily too. And so we wanted to reflect that in the characters, but I think we kind of did a switch, right? Um, the character. So also we're writing these characters, but we're also portraying these characters.
Yes.
At least as of the recording of this.
Who knows?
Yeah. You know, that's. Have you ever thought about that? Like, what if this is like best case scenario? This is a really good idea, and we not only can move forward with it, but there are powers out there that would want us to make this succeed, either by investing in it financially or in some other way, making it possible.
I mean, I've
Have you ever thought about, like, what if somebody says, okay, I'll give you $2 million, but you need so and so to play Luciano, which is the
oh
character you're playing? You know, you
yeah.
ever think about those kinds of things in your head? Like, what if in the best case scenario, there are sacrifices you didn't expect to be confronted with?
Um, who would like anybody in particular, or just some
No,
other
no, 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 no.
actor?
This is not a cracked dream
Dream
cast
casting
list
of
or
yeah.
anything
No.
like that. I'm just saying, in general, contending with sacrifices under best case scenarios.
um, I would just hope that whoever portrays Luciano would be true to the character that we created and would be the perfect fit for the role. That's as long as they were doing a better job than I could, and I were confident in that, I would be perfectly fine with it.
I think
If
that's my general rule with things too. They have to be better than me.
yeah,
And I'm not saying that I'm amazing at everything,
no,
but they have to be better than me.
yeah,
And if anything, I'm relieved if I know that there's an area where I have limitations.
and someone
It's going
else
to
can
be a tall
excel.
order to Yeah, it's going to be a tall order to perform these really well. So I know I want to be able to commit the time. I know I'm willing to do it. But I know how much faster it would be for someone whose life is to do this kind of job. you
Yeah,
know?
you.
I haven't yet come across a serious compromise that makes me question why I'm even doing this in the first place. But I always think about that because that's like the classic success story tales. Just, it's not what you expected. It's not, and you realize that you're holding on to less of that vision the further you go in. But that's also the extreme version of the story, right? Of that life story. But what were you saying?
Well, no, I what would haunt me is if that control is relinquished. Someone else takes the role, or someone else takes the reins in some way, and produces something that when you watch, you could say, no, 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 I am 100% sure I could have done that better. That would that would destroy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to
I
talk
was
about that and think
watching.
about that, but like, if someone
I
takes
don't.
this and then destroys it,
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but I'll put the video in the show notes. I watched this New York Times like mini doc of this woman who was basically who Fergie became in the Black Eyed Peas, and she was in that role as the sole female vocalist in the Black Eyed Peas. Black Eyed Peas, right? Black Eyed past tense. Black Eyed Peas.
black-eyed peas,
Black Eyed Peas.
black-eyed peas.
I think so. Anyway, she was there with them in the beginning, and they were doing openings. They were opening for big bands on their tours, and they were getting TV spots, and they were on the rise. Then they got a big record deal, and that's when the shift happened, and a lot had to change with their music, their identity, their presentation, and every member's individual role publicly to audiences had to shift to be more accessible and more viable commercially. And then they just exploded. This original member, she left when she saw this change. She has no animosity towards the other members, still loves them, so happy for them and all that stuff. But she recognized where her exit was. And I was watching that. It was very humbling. It looks like a very humbling experience to recognize where you no longer fit. And I also think about if I could be of any good if I'm pursuing something. I'm not talking about this film, but I always think about that just in terms of like whatever kind of endeavor I want to pursue that could potentially have success that's greater than what I can imagine. And when I would step away, and then be happy with that choice. It was a really satisfying piece to watch for
Hmm.
that regard, just from that standpoint, because that's something that rattles in my head all the time. Um, And yeah, I mean, do you think about that with just, what anything you want to do? Not necessarily your business, but any of the ideas that you've had that you've been really passionate about chasing that would, by it's by its design, hopefully produce some sort of great success that you haven't seen before for yourself.
I do think about that, but um, I try not to focus on the worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
um, because I don't think that's fruitful. Having the fear of that is helpful. Fear gives you,
Yeah.
a little bit more of a competitive edge because
I would say it's not that I struggle with it, but it's never far from my thoughts. It always does come up as one of the many things I'll think about in terms of the trajectory of a project or the
mm,
potential success of something I'm focused on. Is I think it's a way for me to keep in check um, why I'm here and why I'm doing this, why I'm passionate about this, and if that's still true. Yeah. So I'll put that video in the show notes, but you have a recipe.
yes, the black bean soup.
Yes.
So the long and short of it is, during the course of these demo shoots, and we were basically making proof of concept clips, footage, scenes. What do you want to call them? Whatever it is. Um, we needed to eat on a
Screen tests.
screen test. That works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, we needed to eat. We needed to feed many people on a fairly limited budget. And so this rice and beans recipe was spectacular. Cuban style black bean soup from a little old Cuban lady that lived next to my aunt. And it is an amazing recipe. It's not too complicated, not too involved, and it is delicious and nutritious. And with the rice, it is a complete protein. Rice and beans,
And
all the branched
for
chain
a
amino acids.
month, and for a month, it may have been breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Quite possibly,
for
because I would
many of
make
us.
cauldrons of it.
Um, and the other thing that we would also make is this minestrone,
Oh my god.
and
Oh my god.
and we had some, unfortunately, just because we overproduced, and we made it in bulk, and unfortunately some items within the mixture had turned,
Yeah,
so we
so
had to
well, no,
dispose
hang
of
on.
it.
So a little bit of background there. It's we kept it. We sealed them in giant mason jars, these like half-gallon mason jars that would hold the rice or the beans or the this minestrone. We forgot one of them in the back of the fridge, and so it had kind of like gelatinized, and it was very difficult to get out of the mason jar. So I resorted to just kind of shaking it over the garbage.
And so I'm gonna play the clip, so I'll cut it in.
Okay.
Um, and I
I'm sorry.
I like to think that it's a big shaggy dog really chowing down on his lunch. So we'll play it
Oh shit.
right here. So I think we'll get into it more next week, but I want to set up our closing just kind of with a little teaser to what we'll do next week, and that's impressions. That's kind of the ways we bond over our comedy. We've done some stand-up shows before ourselves. We did one with a character that you invented. I wrote the jokes for a live
Yes.
set.
And that
Ronaldo.
character is 8 years old
Yeah, as of like last week, right?
as of the 16th of April. That
And we
is
shot a little
8 years
YouTube
ago.
series with that, like that many years ago as well, like 7 years ago.
Yep. They are all on
And
Vimeo.
They are. They're
They
on
are.
YouTube for sure. Are they on Vimeo as well?
They're
I'll have to
on
check
Vimeo.
that
I've
out.
only been able to
Oh,
find them on Vimeo. I haven't found them
I'll
on
have to take a
YouTube.
gander. We'll put those in the show notes. Then we'll put the best one, the Boston one, on
Yes,
the show
yes,
notes.
yes.
Um, and so impressions are basically a way for us to kind of warm up. We don't even necessarily use them in the projects that we do. There is one impression on a comedy project that we've just got in the can recently. And I think, there are distinct impressions that people can do. Like, I love Frank Caliendo's John Madden impression. But it's a distinct voice. It's
That
a
is.
well-known voice.
Yeah.
Um,
He doesn't
I think
sound like
one of the
anyone but
things that I
himself.
love doing are really, really esoteric characters with non-distinct voices or actors. And then also really getting really meta
Yeah.
with them as well.
Yeah.
So the one we were doing yesterday was we're both Star Trek fans. So we've done Patrick Stewart and William Shatner, and I love doing Janeway. Like, computer, turn off the sonic shower.
Yeah.
Do it.
George.
Yeah. So Picard does engage, and make it so Jellicoe goes, "Get it done,"
Get it
and
done.
then Janeway goes, "Do it."
George.
And then you do Janeway saying "do it" as if it was portrayed by Orson Welles drunk filming a
Doing
Paul
the
Masson
Paul
commercial.
George. Doesn't do anything. George.
And so you were trying to do a Janeway impression yesterday, but
It ended up sounding a little different.
yeah. So I likened it to this is the actor William Shatner doing an impression of the actor Kate Mulgrew portraying Captain Janeway. Go ahead.
Okay. We could land the ship. Security teams. Security teams. George.
What about the actor William Shatner doing an
Scorpion.
impression of Patrick Stewart playing Captain Picard?
Make it so.
Make it so.
Make it so. Mr. Worf. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, Mr. Worf. Okay.
Okay, what about the actor George Takei doing an impression of Michael Dorn, the actor, portraying Worf?
This is tough. Okay, so you need Sulu doing Worf. It's
It's not George Takei playing Sulu
It's
playing
just
Worf. It's
George-
George Takei, the actor,
yeah, doing an
doing
impression
an
of Michael
impression
Dorn.
of Michael Dorn's interpretation of Worf.
Okay. If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand. Captain,
Okay.
incoming message. Oh my.
Yes. Okay, so we'll get more into that next week, and I'll contribute next time as well.
Okay, yeah, you need an impression too.
I need to think about my voices. What would I do? I do something.
You do a great Captain
Lion
Braxton.
The lion from Super Chicken.
Yeah.
Super Chicken.
You do a great Nixon, I gotta say.
Oh, yeah, I'll have to work on that before.
Yes.
Let's save that for next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. Captain Braxton. Captain Braxton. Turn off the sonic shower.
So I'm
Okay,
feeling pretty
so
good
we'll
about
save that
this
for
one.
next week.
Yeah.
And I will roll the outro.
Okay, you do that.
Ronnie and Ernie. Ready?
Yeah. Do it.
Do it. The Ronny and Ernie Show is a joint production of Triello Storytelling Company and the Bon Vivant. Our show is available on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If you like what you're hearing, then commenting, subscribing, and reviewing means this show only gets better. So if we're heading in a problematic direction right now, you just let us know, and we'll steer it back the way it was, or we'll keep going hard
ship.
this way. We could, yeah, that's one of the options. Your turn.
Recipes, projects, or anything we didn't have enough time to get into on today's show will be up on our blogs. They are available at triello.org/blog and thebon-vivant.com.
I'm a ghost star.
And
And at each of our sites, you can also take a look at what we're currently up to, and check out some of the amazingly talented people we collaborate with.
No!
Ha ha ha!
No!
I know.
You can't end on a preposition.
Well, we know you will have to rewrite the copy then, because I'm reading the copy.
I changed that copy like a month and a half ago.
I see a reply to the copy saying, "Looks great."
We're looking at different things.
Looks great. Looks good, daddy.
You know, that wasn't even me. That was the first suggestion that came up on Google thing.
Oh.
Google wrote that for
Google.
me. All right.
Are you watching Westworld? Because if it's teaching us anything, it's that you shouldn't let the AI decide who you are.
I was at work, okay? I just glanced at my phone and read it quickly.
All right, so when you're busy, the AI can tell you who you are.
Yes,
okay.
that's fine.
I got it.
That's perfectly
Okay.
acceptable. And then I'll assert myself in the downtime.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Well,
All right.
See you next week.
Have a good day, and we'll
Yes.
see you next week
Yes,
with more
indeed.
people and voices.
Yes, and voices.
All right.
Ciao.
See ya. Bye.